Hi, Jennifer Penrose here from Penrose & Associates Physical Therapy, and I want to talk to you a little bit about regenerative medicine and some of the new technologies that we have at our physical therapy clinic in Lacey, Washington. So we have what is called EMTT and shockwave. So EMTT stands for extracorporeal magnetic transduction therapy. So it uses magnetic fields to stimulate the cells and the healing process. I'm going to save you a bunch of time on the science part of it. I do a longer podcast and video on that. The other thing that we do is shockwave. And again, that stimulates the healing process for your fibroblasts to start repairing tendons and tissue. And I don't want to get too far into the weeds with that, but I wanted to really talk about what it did for me because I have an old meniscus injury and it's been doing pretty good. And that was probably 10 years ago that I had a small little tear and my knee swelled up pretty good. And I had to take a bunch of time off of running, probably about 2 months, maybe a little bit over that. And I was coming up on a trip to go to Portugal and we were going to be doing a ton of walking. So I scheduled a cortisone shot thinking I might need it before I go, but I didn't end up needing it. Everything did finally calm down, but I had like a 3-month window before going on that trip. Well, recently I was increasing my running and I just didn't do it in a logical manner. We'll just put it that way. I added too many miles too quickly. And so when I was in Chicago, I did 9.5 miles when I hadn't worked up to that. So yeah, I knew better, did it anyway. And I came back and I could not straighten my knee the next day and it was swollen and there was some pain. And I pretty much knew, oh, this reminds me of the meniscus injury that I had. I probably kind of awakened that in my knee, plus I'm 10 years older. So luckily I had the EMTT and the shockwave in my clinic. So I started doing the EMTT twice a week for 4 weeks and shockwave once a week. And within that first week, I could tell the swelling had moved out. Even the second day after the EMTT treatment, I could straighten my knee all the way. So the swelling had definitely moved out. I wasn't taking any Advil or ibuprofen on purpose to see what these modalities would do for me. I didn't use any ice. So I was really trying to be somewhat scientific using this. And within basically, I'd say 3 weeks, I was back to like a light run walk. And even within 2 weeks, I was still doing some strength training, not as much load, not a lot of jumps or higher impact things, but certainly I was doing weighted squats and some weighted lunges, deadlifts, kettlebell swings, planks, and, full body stuff. And I could tell on some of my workouts that my knee would get a little bit swollen, but nothing really bad. So definitely within 4 weeks, I feel like I'm back to normal and I can start my run walk progression again and load things correctly and not too fast. So if you are struggling with something that has swelling, pain, EMTT and shockwave will help you get through it faster. And you can still be doing some part of loading. However, I know better than to just go for like a 4-mile run tomorrow, even though I might feel like I want to. So as long as you're logical again with adding stress back to the tissues as they're continuing to heal. So that's the great thing about shockwave and EMTT. It naturally kickstarts your healing process. However, you also need to be doing some strengthening in a very graduated manner, and that's where the physical therapy piece comes in to be very helpful so you don't overdo it with the loading progression. So that is what I wanted to share today, is a little bit of just how it had influenced my healing with that minor injury. But typically, I think it would have taken me probably another month, if not a little longer, to completely get that swelling out and back to being a little bit more active. So if you're looking for some options that don't require an injection or taking medications and just getting back to feeling better faster, EMTT and shockwave would be my recommendation to explore. So Penrose Physical Therapy in Lacey, Washington. Our phone number is 360-456-1444. And you can email info@penrosept.com for more information. Our website has lots of helpful tips. And we look forward to helping you. Thanks.